we go. All right. Let's do this.
Oh my God. Otherwise, I will forget.
Anything is appreciated. Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. Anyways, chapter 6 and 7. All right, I'm done with this too. Chapter 6 and 7. This was the factoring unit, which some of you did awesome on factoring. Okay, some of you needed some practice. The remainder theorem, who remembers? In order to be a factor, what is the remainder? What number? What'd you say? Not 1. 0. Very good. Okay, but I can see why you think 1. Okay, so again, because 8 divided by 4 is 2, it's not 2.5. It's just going to be 2. Okay, so let's take a look here. Factor each polynomial and find the zeros. That's 2 questions in 1 because that's what the final is going to ask you. It's going to be multiple choice. So you want to factor first, and then you want to find the zeros. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You guys were pretty good at this one. This is called difference of 2 squares. And on the test, I believe I wrote it all out, like difference of 2 squares instead of dots. What is the square root of 16x squared? 4x, you were close. Okay, and then what is the square root of 25? 5. Now you guys were really good at this. One was a positive, one was a minus, so I would have 4. My pen again is very glitchy, so I apologize. 4x plus 5 and 4x minus 5. Now that's the factoring. That's your answer for the factoring piece. Then on the final, it'll be like, comma, x equals blank, x equals blank. It'll tell you like what are the zeros. And let me explain that to you. We did this in chapter 4 and 6. So I'm just putting it all into one here. The way to do this is to set each one equal to 0 and solve. Okay, it's easier when, like down here when we do this one, you'll see it's pretty easy. This one's a little strange only because we have a 4 in front. So set it equal to 0 and solve. Sorry. There you go. What would I do first here? Yeah, subtract 5. And I get 4x equals negative 5. Then what? Yeah, divide. So your answer, your 0, or what is your 0? It's your x-intercept technically, is negative 5/4. I'll leave that up there so that you guys can copy that down. Now, as you guys are making sure that you have all that down, the other one is the same. The other 0 is the same exact thing, but instead of negative 5/4, it's going to be what? Positive 5/4. Okay? Done. Questions? Sure. Positive. Now the next one. Again, the hardest part in math is knowing what to do. Like, what is it asking me to do? Okay, so again, same thing. We're going to factor and then find the zeros. But finding the zeros is easier on this one. Okay, so this one, we have to do the MA table. What multiplies to negative 8, it adds to 2. Now, some of you will be able to tell me that right away. But let me just walk you through it to remind some how to find that. Start with 1. 8 divided by 1 is 8. That's not going to subtract to get 2. What's 8 divided by 2? 4. Will that somehow subtract to get 2? Sure. Which one of them is positive? 4. So I have negative 2, positive 4. Okay, that's the first step in this factoring. At least this factoring is not the factor by grouping, which is a little bit harder. This is a pretty easy one. So again, the factoring part's pretty straightforward. X minus 2, x plus 4 is my final answer for the factoring part. Then it says find the zeros. Well, you guys got really good at this because we even had to do it for chapter 9. What is the 0 of this guy? What is x? 2. What about this one? There we go. Done. That's your answer. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Going way back. All right, let's keep going. Difference of 2 squares, 2 cubes. You guys, when you have multiple choice, you're going to definitely be able to cross off a couple. This one, always use SOAP. Same sign, opposite, always positive. I will give you the formulas in the final, okay, to help you out. Now, cube root. What is the cube root of 64? Be careful. That's the square root. 4. Very good. Okay, so 4x I'm going to use here. If you get stuck, I'm going to put a little star. Press math, option 4. That's going to get you that little cube root symbol right there, that guy, in your calculator. Well, what is the cube root of 1? Cube root of 1? 1. Yeah. Okay. Again, what does it mean to be cube root? It means what times itself 3 times is it going to get you back that number? Like 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. That's what that means. Okay, so same sign, opposite sign, always positive. You're going to definitely be able to cross one of them out because of this. Same sign of the original. Same sign, which is negative. Opposite, always positive. So positive, positive. And we got to fill in these blanks. Now, again, at this point on the final, you might even be done. You might not even have to do any work, just knowing the signs. Okay, it's a lot harder to do when you don't have multiple choice. Okay, we always copy down whatever we got in the first group. Anyone remember what we had to do to this 4x to get this term? Double it. Very good. Double it, square it. It's a little... the vocab word, but double and square kind of mean the same thing, a little different. Okay, square, you square it. Okay, so square it, that means 4 times 4 is 16, and then x squared. Double would be 8, 4 times 2, just an FYI. Okay, this guy, the humming or whoever's kind of like doing a song, it's been going on all period, so just relax. Okay, all right, now multiply them together. So now we have to do 4x times 1, which just gets me 4x. Last piece. We square the last one. So 1 squared, which is 1. Okay? Go way back. Questions on that one? You will be given the formula. There was a formula for this where it said like a squared, ab, b squared. I will give that to you on the final. Okay? Okay. Your packet was copied weird. Okay, so this is actually chapter 9 right here. So go ahead and flip the page, and we're gonna go to this guy right here. It has like this big graph down here. I don't know what happened to your copies, but this is where we are. This guy. These next ones are pretty easy. The very last one is a question that I would hope that everyone gets right. I'm pretty sure everyone has gotten it right in the past on this final exam. Okay, so let's take a look here. Maybe. There you go. One of the factors of this is x minus 3. What is the other? Okay, there's like 3 different ways you can do this problem. You guys were really good at synthetic division, so let's do that way. Okay, so what is the 0 of this guy? 3. We're going to use 3 on the outside. Remember when we did that little L thing? You guys were pretty good at it. Those numbers that are in front go right here. I'll give you a second to make sure you got all that in there. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Drop down the 1. Do you remember what we do on the outside when we do synthetic? What'd you say? That's in the inside. Multiply. Okay, so 3 times 1 is 3. Now when we're in the inside, we add. So 4 plus 3 gets me 7. Multiply again. 3 times 7 gets me 21. When you add them, you get 0. And we're about to be done with this problem. I started at x squared. I must go down a power, so I get x plus 7. That's my final answer. Now, I'm going to show you a way that if you have multiple choice, if you understand what the question's asking, it's actually very easy, okay? You don't have to write this down, but I'm going to, okay? I'm just going to write some random stuff down. Okay, you do not have to write this down if you don't want to. This is what we got. We just did all that work. This is what we got, right? If I'm given this question, I can figure out the answer without doing any of that, just by looking at the multiple choice. Here's how. When you factor and you do all your distributing, the middle term needs to add to 4, right? Okay, so -3 plus 7 gets me 4. I would have just been done right there and uncircled that answer. If I have multiple choice. Because look, -3 minus 3 gets me -6. That's not 4. 2 minus 3 gets me -1. That's not 4 either. That's how I would have done that problem if I saw it. Okay, but again, you have to realize what that is and why you can do that. Okay? Questions? There's another way too. Put in your graphing calculator. Where's your other x-intercept? Because when you graph this like this, you will see a -7 here, and you will see 3 here, and it'll look like this. That's another way to do it. Again, there's 3 ways to do that problem right there. Okay? So many different ways. We got 2 more. These ones are pretty quick. Given the function, determine the zeros again. Remember, zeros they're x-intercepts. They mean the same thing. Okay? This guy, what is x for this one? What about this next one? Okay, now this one, you might have to go off to the side and actually determine what it is. So 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. You're going to add 7, divide by 3. Add 7, divide by 3. So I'm going to add 7. And I get 3x equals 7. Divide by 3, and you're going to get a fraction, and you're going to be done. 7/3. Answer, answer, answer. Give you a minute. I don't want to rush your hands. We got one more left once you're all done, and it's the easiest question I believe on your final exam. I don't want to have to come to your house and pull you out by your ear if you get it wrong, because I really feel like it's that easy, honestly. I'll tell you why in a second. Okay? And there's one just like it on the final. Ready? Graph. Given the graph, identify how many zeros you have or how many x-intercepts you have. I have 1 right here, and I have 2 right here. I have 2 zeros. Done. That's it. Okay, so all you're doing is you're determining how many x-intercepts do I have. How many x-intercepts do I have? I have 2. That's it. Okay. Now, I just want to take like 30 more seconds, not even. And I want to like scroll back up to this problem that you guys did. If you remember, we did this problem yesterday. And I want to make sure that I write something down because I like it better on here than I do on the one we're going to do tomorrow.